Today on the Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff, we're talking about how to start a book club for parents and kids, even little kids. And then we've got some craft shortcuts or hacks for you. And finally, we're in the kitchen with Anna Larson, chef at Manello, making homemade pasta. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Happy. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people. Welcome to the Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. I'm here today with our friend Chris Montana. We did a segment at his family-owned business, and during that I found out that you and I are both kind of book nerds. I don't know, English majors.
The secret's out.
Secret's out. We love books. And both of us are very passionate about getting our kids to read.
Absolutely.
So I proposed an idea to you about doing this segment regarding getting a parent-child book club started, because I think a lot of people have play groups. I mean, that's a very common thing, but like, why not incorporate reading into that as a piece of it?
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me, and that's why when you brought it up, I said, what a great idea. What's also nice for mom and dad is to be able to get together with other mom and dads and then share something with their kids that is going to be a lifelong skill for them, that is going to be important for them to build and also have an interest in themselves. We don't want to be shoving reading down our kids' throats. We want them to want to come to it, and this is one way that we can do that. Mm-hmm. And one nice thing about doing something like this is that it still is structured. There's still something that you can share with your kid, right? And you can sit down, you can do that, both you and your son or your daughter, but also you could do that with other dads, right? And so you can kind of share in that collective nervousness and apprehensiveness of, how do I relate to my kid? Well, you can use the book as the way to relate to your kid. And
I think the nice thing about the book club, you and I talked, is a lot of times dads, specifically dads with boys, and I'm not going to stereotype, but even dads with girls I think do this, but go to that physical thing, that taking your kids skating, taking your kids to do something, but to be part of something more cerebral, which is a lot of times what moms take on, is kind of an interesting concept.
Yeah, and I think it's important. I do that too. When one of the things that you will hear when you walk into my house, particularly when I come home from work, is my oldest boy, who's only 3, is going to run up and he's going to scream wrestle, because it's on, right? Yeah. And I love wrestling with my kid, and I don't see anything wrong with that. But at the same time, you want your kid to see you as more than, you don't want to compartmentalize these different skills that they're gonna learn. As a father of 2 boys, I want them to know that it's perfectly fine for you to, one, be a physical guy and competitive and all that, but I also want you to be a cerebral guy, and I want you to, also think about, how can you be using your mind. So sitting down with the boys and saying, yeah, maybe we wrestle, this, that, and the other, but Dad likes to read. Do you want to read with me? They usually are now the ones coming to me saying, here's my book, let's read this, Dad. Of course, they can't read, but they want me to go through it, and they enjoy the process.
What I think is interesting when we're talking about a book club, I think people think about things like this, like chapter books and maybe reading offline. But a book club can be just as simple as taking one of your favorite books, your favorite picture books, and whoever is the host parent simply reads this out loud. There could be some sort of easy craft with it. There could be a snack, but it does not have to start when kids can read. It can start much earlier than that.
Yeah, and kids are interacting with these books way before they can read them, right? And that's one of the nice things about picture books, right? Is that we're going through it, we're telling the story, they're getting that story, but they see something on the page that we didn't talk about. Right? They see maybe there's a bird off to the side. They want to know about that bird. They want to know what that bird is doing. And so even as we're going through a page, that for these books that are for younger children, volumes are not going to be written on those pages, right? That's not really the point. But we still can ask questions. We still can ask, hey, what's the bear doing here? What are the birds doing? How many birds are there? And the kids can still interact with it, and it becomes more of a back and forth as opposed to I'm just feeding you information.
I love that. And allowing, whenever I used to go into my children's classrooms to read books, you would get to do that. I would always allow space at the end of a page for those kinds of questions and interactions to happen. I think it's really important because they are noticing things that we're not noticing.
Yeah, and they want to be a part of it, I mean, what kid wants to sit still for? I mean, how long does it take to read a book? Maybe it'll take you 10 minutes.
Right.
Do you know any young kids who want to sit still for 10 minutes? I'm having a hard time sitting still right now, right? So, I mean, they want to be a part of it.
They do want to be a part of it. One thing I like to do with my kids is actually have them sit right beside me so they're seeing the words that I'm reading on the pages.
You know, there have been books that should have happened in 5 minutes that have taken a half hour because it's what does that word say? What does that word say? And I mean, you're just, the grin, you can't wipe it off your face because that's exactly what you want. You want them to be interested in that because they now have an interest in figuring out how can they read it on their own.
Right. Chris, you brought this book today, and I've never seen it before because my kids are a little bit older than yours, and I think this is newer, but what do you love about this book?
So for any book, for any writing, you're always thinking about your audience. And when you're reading to small kids, those kids can't read. So you're telling them the story, but the person reading it is mom or dad. And mom and dad get to, you know, have a little fun too. So what I like about this book is it's a good story. It's perfectly applicable. It, you know, it has that little bit of didacticism to it. So the kids are going to learn a little bit, and that's fine. But there, you know, the drawings and the dialogue are also reaching back to mom and throwing a couple jokes at mom and dad. So I think that is an author who knows their audience. Right?
I love that. I love reading very clever books.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say before we conclude also is I think that people think that once a child can read, they don't need to be read out loud to. And I disagree with that. Anybody loves to have a story told to them. And what's nice about that is, you know, your boys are a year and a half apart. There will be a significant difference in one's reading ability versus the others at a certain point. But if you're reading out loud to them, that younger child can still, even if he can't read the book, understand what's going on and be part of the story.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So I love it. All right, I think book clubs, we should start our own book club.
Let's do it.
All right. Coming up next on The Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff, I'm with my friend Peggy, and we have some great crafting hacks for you. My friend Peggy and I love to make crafts, but more than that, we like to make things easy, right?
Yep.
It's all about the easy.
Oh, yeah.
So we have some crafting hacks to share. Do you want to get started first?
Sure. I use a lot of glue gun sticks.
Okay.
Do you like,
Yeah.
are you a fan of the glue gun?
I am a big fan of hot glue.
You know me, I do paper stuff. I was made a couple envelopes the other day, glued them because it was like heavy stuff. Anyways,
Yeah.
so glue sticks, it's a thing.
Here they
Put
are.
them, you know, but the strings that come off of them,
Yeah?
if you keep your sticks in the freezer, they're not as like.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Try it, try
I
it.
will, because I don't like those strings.
No, no.
What is this you whipped up
Okay.
for us, Peggy?
Okay, I found this. It was like in the box of like the kids made something. But
Okay.
look at all the
Yeah.
little strings on there.
String situation.
Another thing, I'm gonna use my 1970s blow dryer here.
I don't actually know where you even found. Wait, look at the side of it. Okay, okay.
Stop. So, okay, so if you use a blow dryer on the strings, it'll get rid of them.
Okay.
Let's give it a whirl.
Ready?
Yeah. It's from the 70s. It might take a while. Okay.
I think I had a hairdryer like that in middle school. Oh,
There.
it happened. Yeah. Look, we are cleaning up the cobwebs on this here fantastic
way
tree.
better.
It does look better.
But if you're
Okay.
if you're doing a real project, you know,
Yes.
that's important. But yay, right?
Yeah. Just next time you come to my house, don't bring me that as a hostess gift.
All right, what's going on over
Okay, so I'm a knitter, as you know.
there? I don't know.
And a lot of times I will roll my yarn into balls. So you can use a colander to put several different colors of yarn in. Like when you're knitting something together, which is something I often do, is like knit 3 strands together to make a pair of chunky mittens. Or you can simply put them in a clear bowl, put a clip on the side, and
It won't roll away.
thread the yarn
and
through there. Yeah, because it is a thing. Runaway yarn happens. It's just a great idea for keeping
Those are
nice
both
yarn.
really good.
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
really good. really
Okay, what else you got for me?
good. I do like to do painted signs, like old wood and stuff like that for different things. And these, I'm telling you, any sort of plastic lids, like from food, obviously they're clean. Put your paint on there,
This
and
is
it becomes a
genius.
little palette because you don't really want to wash, you know, you could go and buy a pallet and wash it every time.
Yeah.
It hardens up just.
You know what this also solves is a whole kitchen problem, which is too many lids, too many bottoms.
Yeah.
Never the right match.
I guess you could probably use the bottom too, right?
But I mean, it's like I never have exactly the right match. So use it up, right?
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
I love that. So one thing I've learned is when I have thicker things, when it gets down to the bottom, I simply keep a container or just any kind of cup, any kind of bowl, whatever, and I leave it upside down so it's not so irritating.
It's all at the bottom.
Yeah, you can do it with mayonnaise, you can do it with anything. So keeping something upside down, that's just a really great tip, and having a container like this prevents any spills from coming out, but then it's ready to roll when you need it.
Perfect. Use every last drop.
Yeah.
My last one is masking tape. It kind of gets old and you can't get it off and it's sticky. Is also you keep this in the freezer. You keep your masking tape in the freezer and it doesn't get all sticky. This was not kept in the freezer.
It's so sticky. And then it just like peels off
Yeah,
really
peels
easily
off.
and
Yep.
isn't like all sticky and tearing off.
Yep.
All right, my last tip is this. So you and I both have a lot of these stampy things to cut paper into shapes. And also we have a lot of scissors. So you can actually sharpen the blades of this or of this by simply using sandpaper or tinfoil, and it sharpens the edges of these things because it rubs against it.
So you've made like a bunch of layers there for
So
that.
this is like cut, it's in force, and every time I press down like that, it's actually sharpening the blade.
Does once do it or do you have to do it a few times?
I mean, yeah, you
That
keep
makes
just
sense.
going, and yep. Look, also, we could use this for a crafting project.
Let me know what you come up with. Maybe we can glue it onto this.
Glue it like tree with squares. All right, perfect. So this has been great. I love to do projects at home. I love to craft, but I also always love ways to make things easier. Thanks, Peggy. This was fun. If you have any hacks for us, crafting, cooking, whatever it may be, we would love to see them. Post them on the Happy House page on Instagram or Facebook. Coming up next on the Happy House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff, I'm at Manello, downtown Minneapolis, making homemade pasta. I'm at Manello Restaurant, downtown Minneapolis, with Chef de Cuisine, Anna Larson, and I am going to learn how to make pasta today. So, is it easy? Can we do this?
It is. It's very easy. You can do it at home, and if you're a little afraid of it, you can buy just pasta sheets also.
Okay, so how do we get started?
So we will have 2 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour.
Just all-purpose,
All-purpose.
nothing special.
Nope,
Okay,
nothing special.
perfect. Then what?
And then just eggs. We need egg yolks, 6 egg yolks, and 3 eggs. And then just start adding the flour in, and then you just work it.
So I've created a center with the eggs, and I'm working the flour in bit by bit.
Yep,
Is that's important to the technique, I'm guessing?
It is. It just makes it a little bit easier to incorporate it. If you try to fold everything all at once, it's just a gloopy mess.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
All right, so now it's kind of like this, but
Yep.
what do I do next? Just
yeah,
keep
so
going?
then you just keep and you just work it in.
Get your hands in there.
Yep, you just have to, and it's easy if you fold it out
Yeah.
and keep going.
All right, so we're gonna move this aside because you've gone ahead and helped us with the magic of television.
Yes.
And created some dough ahead of time. So we've got this dough. This doesn't look like a lot of dough, but is it gonna make a decent amount of pasta?
You can probably get 30 raviolis out of this.
Did you know I heart ravioli so much? Yes.
So you want to let your pasta dough rest for about 40 minutes before you roll it. So you want to let it kind of just get soft.
So what's interesting about this to me is it doesn't feel sticky. Like when I make bread, that dough is so sticky. Have you done anything to this or it's
No,
just
that's the kneading, the 20 minutes. You knead it until it's not sticky.
okay, not sticky.
Yeah.
I love it.
So what I like to do if I'm doing pasta, I make my pasta dough first,
Mm-hmm.
and then while it's resting, I make a filling real fast.
Okay.
For this is just a simple ricotta. We're gonna add some basil, salt, pepper, and some fresh nutmeg. If you want to grind some nutmeg into it.
I do. Hey, I learned something new today when I came here. Nutmeg actually starts out as a nut.
Yes.
Who knew? I'm guessing a lot of people actually, just not me. Okay. All
don't
right.
know.
So I use
So-
this special tool.
Yeah, so you just grind it in.
I love this basic. When you ask me what my favorite kind of pasta is, it's like all pasta all day, all
Yeah.
the time. So
Yeah.
anything that's in there, I'm pretty much gonna love.
And then we just do a little salt.
I like how this is
then-
going because this is how I just do a little. Yeah.
That's how I cook. Little pepper. Some fillings you need to add an egg just as a binder.
Yep.
You can add some parm. We have parm right there, and we can just grate it in.
With this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a microplane. It works great. It's a little bit of a finer grade.
Yeah, it's awesome though. The cheese is. I love this. Yes.
Stir it together.
So far, I got all this. I can do it. Okay.
Yeah, and you were talking earlier about spinach. Loving that in there. You could do chopped spinach in there. You could saute it and then just wring it out real well. If you don't wring it out, it's
Right.
going to be real wet.
Okay.
So your filling would be
Good to know.
difficult.
So now what we're gonna
Yeah.
do is what?
So we would start, you can set it up there
Yeah,
if
I'll
you
put this-
want.
I'll put this
So we
aside.
would start rolling out the pasta. So I like to use a rolling pin just to kind of get it a little bit flatter so I can get it through the machine.
Do I need a machine if I'm making pasta at home, or can I cut pasta myself?
You can cut it yourself. You just have to have a little bit of arm strength
Okay.
to-
Muscle.
to get it so that it's rolled real thin.
All right.
But you know, they sell small. I have a small one at home. This is obviously industrial strength.
Yeah.
They have, you know, pasta machines, a little crank one.
Yeah, like if you really get into it.
Yeah, and they're relatively inexpensive.
Well, and sometimes if you love something, it's honestly it gets down to I think you can find reasonably priced small appliances like that.
Yeah.
But it's how many small appliances. It's about counter space and
Yeah.
cupboard space. Then, and so
Exactly.
it has to be. You have to be committed.
yeah. But you know what? I don't have any children of my own, but I have nieces and nephew, and I love making pasta with them.
Yeah.
And it's so fun because they can do it, and they're like trying to, you know, oh, can I get it
Yeah.
cranked out?
It's a great activity for kids.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
So-
rolling this, but
Yeah,
now is
and-
this? How does this look so far?
That looks good for the machine.
For the machine.
Yes, for the machine.
All right. So now.
So basically, with any pasta machine, you start at the highest number, and then you work your way down. So you just let it go through.
Hopefully I can come back and we can talk about actually making like fettuccine or something like that because
Yeah.
I think that's a different type of thing.
Yeah, it's the same process. You just want sheets, but you just cut them a different way.
Got it.
And then there are different pasta machines as far as like a fettuccine. They have the lines that you can cut it.
Okay. Once I run it through the machine and it's how I want it, is there a waiting period after that or no?
You want to work pretty fast because it will dry out.
Got it.
If you have cornmeal or semolina, it's nice to keep it in that and then just keep a dish towel over it. If you have to walk away for a phone call or anything,
Okay.
you can just do this and it will stay for a little bit.
Got it.
A couple hours, it's going to dry out and be a little difficult to work with.
Oh yeah, not a cup. You need to be in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
are these fragile or can I hold like?
Nope,
So
they're-
like they're thin. It's like a piece of paper, a thick piece. It's like cardstock actually.
Yeah, so basically, we just want to set them out. Brush this off. And then I like to put my fillings in pastry bags, but you could use a
A zipper
Ziploc
sandwich bag or whatever.
Or you can just use, if you have a thicker filling, you can just spoon it on. And then to get started, sometimes I like to kind of make a little indentation just so I know.
So you're not stamping it all the way.
No.
You're simply kind of just creating a little template for me to put the filling in.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then you just want to put a little in.
And it's interesting, we're doing this before we fully cut them. Like I kind of pictured it a different way, but okay.
Yeah,
I'm trying. Is that good?
it is. So then spraying it with water. We use a spray bottle, or you can use a pastry brush or just your fingers to go. This just helps
Ah.
bind it so they stay together. So then you'll just take and fold over and kind of go around.
Now we're pressing down so that water can kind of adhere things
Yes.
together.
Yep. So the water is the glue. And then you just will go back and cut around them. You have to use a little force sometimes.
Okay, I'm gonna try. I was about to say, I made a ravioli, but I'm actually gonna cut it myself so that I really made a ravioli.
If you're a little worried about it maybe not being the best, you can go and pinch around.
I love it. Oh, this is cute, this little circle.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what comes next?
Next is cooking. So I have a couple of them already pre-made.
Okay. It smells, that basil smells amazing. I just got a whiff of it. So again, this is the, not breadcrumbs, what is this again?
This is semolina.
Semolina?
Or cornmeal would be a good alternative at home.
So you've laid your ravioli made out on that. Is that to keep them from sticking to the pan too?
Yes. Yeah. If you don't have anything underneath, they will stick to the pan and rip when you try to get them. And you can pre-make these and keep them in the fridge for a couple of days.
Okay.
So.
All right, now we boil them.
Yes, we boil them. And fresh pasta dough takes 2 to 3 minutes. They start to float.
Yeah, so when they float to the top. So bring the water to a boil.
Yep.
Put them in, 2 to 3 minutes.
Yep.
When they float to the top, done.
Yes, exactly.
This, I think I can do this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for teaching me about this. These look delicious and it smells amazing in this kitchen.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us today.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go blow dry my hair.
After you give you a perm.
I need a perm. Yeah.